But at least the Constitution remains intact and is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment.
The Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment.
Guns don't protect our free speech.
Oh my God. Where do I begin? Where do I begin with this rabbit hole? The can of worms this man has opened. An 8-year-old child can understand that if a population does not have the means to protect itself from police, armed forces, etc., a tyrannical government, basically, of course there's no freedom. There's no freedom of speech. There's nothing. Okay, this guy, I don't know. I mean, are all the people on his side this dim-witted? I don't know. I really don't understand. This is true. I can't understand how someone cannot understand what Elon Musk just said. And you don't need the richest man on earth, one of the smartest people on earth, because you don't become the richest person if you're not very intelligent. All right, so at least very intelligent in certain areas, in many areas. All right, so he's no dummy. Okay, and people who think he is, well, takes one to know one. So, you know, it doesn't say much about your intelligence if you think Elon Musk is not smart. All right, so Musk is a genius. Everyone knows this. Well, everyone with half a brain, anyway. I'm not saying he's right just because he's smart. He's right. He just is. I mean, it's objectively the case. Objectively, this is not a subjective opinion. All right, it's simple. Population does not have the means to protect itself against a tyrannical government. Slavery can and will follow. Not always, but if you do have the Second Amendment, it acts as a buffer, okay, as protection, as a kryptonite against tyranny. Okay, it's always a possibility that some psychopath is going to rise to the top, or, you know, a gang of psychopaths, and they will want to do, you know, like a Stalinist Russia, communist China, you know, Maoist China all over again. Okay, I mean, has this guy not read history? What's the matter with these people? Meaning him and people who think like him, those idiots that are clapping on the show and laughing at Musk.
Our free speech is protected by the consent of the governed, laid out through the Constitution. It's not based on the threat of violence.
The bottom line, okay. Maybe I'm a little bit harsh on people like him, okay. I think they're just more idealistic, okay. They function, they go more on emotion rather than on cold Spock-like logic, for those who don't know, and you're not missing out, believe me. But Spock, the character from that horrible thing, Star Trek. So, alright, these people are more emotional, these people are more caring, blah blah blah. You know, you often see it, this phrase that's used online in reference to the Democratic Party. Even Musk has mentioned it in one of his tweets, that apparently the left, the Democrats, is the party of kindness, okay, but they can't see the bigger picture, okay. This kindness is very restricted in its view, okay. It doesn't see the larger view, the bigger picture of society, the long term, the macro, okay. It only focuses on the now, on emotions, on how I feel, on how, you know, oh, that's violent, oh, that's scary, oh, that's this and that, okay, that shouldn't be allowed, you know, you shouldn't be, you know, don't put kids in cages, don't prevent any kind of asylum seeker or refugee entry, because it's all about helping, it's all about being kind, but in the moment, because they don't think ahead, they don't see what will happen ahead in 10, 20, 50, 100 years to the culture, okay. It's just a matter of perspective, okay. The two The right, which by the way, right is also, it's the same word for correct, okay? It also means correct. So, well, synonym for correct, sorry. But it's just a difference of perspective, okay? People who are more, because basically the right is the yang principle, the masculine, the solar principle, as it is expressed through politics, and conversely, the yin / the lunar, the feminine, is expressed through leftism as far as politics is concerned, okay? So this maternal kindness, this feminine kindness, this mother energy permeates the left, okay? Well, no matter what country, okay? We're talking about America now because it's the focal point of the earth, but because whatever happens there trickles down to the rest of the planet, so that's why all eyes are on America. That's certainly why my eyes are on America. Although I was in Australia for years and I'm back in Greece now, finally, the past 5 years. So, but you know, whatever happens in America is replicated all over the planet eventually, okay? It happens, it's replicated quicker in the Western countries because they're more similar, so they're more prone to follow in America's footsteps, but eventually it's followed by everybody, even like places like China that are very, like there's a firewall between Western and Chinese culture, okay? They're very different, quite reluctant to follow a lot of the West, and Russia as well. I mean, Russians are white people, I mean, it's part of Europe, but it's considered East because they have different values on certain things when compared to Western Europe and America and so on. But the point is, whatever happens there is going to happen in around the rest of the planet sooner or later, whether it's 10, 20, 50 years, okay? So the point is that my interest, you know, the thinking person, someone that can see like globally, the global picture, the big picture, right? Just like I said, you can understand that if America goes down, the rest of the world goes down too. These people that believe the opposite, they think, oh, we need to bring down America so that we can have more justice on earth and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they're very against pyramidal hierarchy, the competence hierarchy, okay, competence pyramids, pyramidal, meritocratic, okay, competence pyramids. They think that that's oppressed, that all of that stuff is oppressive and blah, blah, blah. And because America is at the top of the pyramid as far as, you know, accomplishments and financially, still, I mean, maybe China has taken over technically now, but still America is technically number one, even in the financial aspect still. You know, for those reasons and many others, people don't, there's a lot of people, millions of people around the world that don't like America. But I'm here to remind you, I'm here to tell you that if America falls, the rest of the planet does. Because all these things we know, like anything you learn that has to do with exposing the truth, learning things that the elite of society, of any country, would ordinarily not want you to know. Anything that basically maintains the power differential between, you know, the elites, you know, the proletariats and the plebs, you know, to use the communist lingo. Unbelievable that I actually did that, but, you know, just so people can understand. The whole point is that tyrants and power-hungry elitists do not want freedom of speech. Okay, they just don't. Maybe leftists like Stewart here are also naive. There's a lot of naivety in that as well. Okay, so that's like the toxic feminine. It's like motherhood gone. It's like the Freudian, what's it called? The terrible mother. Okay, that Freudian term, which is the mother that's so. It's just suffocating, okay? The mothering, the nurturing, it just goes too far. It steps over the line, and it becomes destructive in the end. So this is what happened. This is what has happened at least to the Democrats, like to the left in America at least, and in other Anglo countries, I think. I mean, I would say in the UK probably the same, and Australia, where I was for a number of years. I was born there as well. Obviously, I have the accent, as you can see, but I did my, roughly from 20 to 40, the Odyssey phase. But anyway, so I've seen it live, and it's really bad. The left, the way it's entrenched itself in most institutions and so on. And it's gotten to the stage now where this Freudian terrible mother, this toxic nanny state energy, it's kind of considered the norm. Okay, so when somebody that has even a slightly conservative view, okay, like which is the yin / masculine energy expression in politics, it's considered far right and this and that. Okay, that's because our societies in general in the Anglosphere, and to a lesser extent, like, I mean, in Greece, the great thing I like about this place is because a lot of people that were born and bred here and never left, that have just lived in a place like Greece all their lives, they see a whole bunch of negativity. But me, having lived also in Australia half of my adult life, more than half of my adult life, I can see that it's so much more worth it to be living like in this day and age right now, with the wokeism and everything just being out of control, in a place like Greece or Russia. Okay, there's something about the country, I mean, I'm not religious, but there's something about the countries that are very firmly rooted in Orthodox Christianity, that for some reason that I haven't fully worked out, they seem to be practically immune to this leftist takeover and this wokeism and feminism and all that stuff. Like, basically all of these things are expressions of the yin principle, the feminine principle, just gone too far to the point where it becomes toxic. Much like how it's opposite, like the yang, the masculine principle in politics, the right, the conservative side, would become toxic if it goes too far in the direction of, we need guns, we need militia, blah blah blah, which is the stuff that Stewart is complaining about now. That is a valid complaint if it goes too far, but I don't think it's gone too far in America. In America, it's gone too far the other way right now, and people, idiots like him, think that, well, what did he say? It's not based on a threat of violence, okay? He's being naive, like I said a few minutes ago. The problem here is that they, like I said before, they don't understand that the macro, like at the end of the day, if you do disarm the population, he might be an idealist. He might think, yeah, the government's still going to do the right thing, and it's not based on the threat of violence, it's based on the consent of the governed and whatever. Okay, yeah, keep telling yourself that. All right, like I said earlier, have people like him never seen, like, don't they understand that if we don't know our history, we're going to repeat it? I mean, this has happened a million times before in every society. All right, that's the whole point of why the Constitution was written the way it was, and why it was a revolutionary document at the time, and still to this day it's one of a kind. There's nothing has come out, no other comparable document has come out, no other constitution that's better written than the US one. So it's the perfect template. Okay, like, ideally, if there was no corruption and everyone did the right thing and it was followed properly just the way it was written, it would be the template for the perfect society. And America was that for a few decades after its founding, after the revolution, whatever, after 1776. But then, of course, corruption creeps in always. But can you imagine if they did not have the fail-safes of the First and Second Amendments? It would have fallen within 50 years, okay?
It's based on elections, organizing, referendums, a judicial system. Our social contract offers many, many avenues to remedy these issues.
Yes, it does offer many, many avenues, a social contract. Well, I'm I'm talking as if I'm an American. Even on my Twitter thing, I have the American and the Greek flag. A lot of people think I'm Greek American. I want to be. I'm putting it out there. Maybe I'm going to create it. Maybe I'm going to manifest it. But anyway, I'm talking as if I'm an American with an Australian accent. So yes, no, our social contract. Yeah, it offers many avenues to remedy these issues, but the bottom line of it is violence, okay? Like, it might not happen, but it could, okay? If you don't have the Second Amendment, it might not, like, you might be lucky, and you might never get some tyrant coming up there and trying to just exterminate people and so on, just get rid of the people that don't believe in his ideology, this sort of thing, which happens. I mean, this has happened throughout history, like I said. You might not, but if people don't have guns, there's a possibility that it could happen. With the Second Amendment firmly in place, it prevents it from happening, okay? That's the whole point. Now, what the F does he not understand about this?
And allows sides to be heard and adjudicated. Guns...
No one is saying that we should not... Okay, let me rephrase that, because that was like double negatives. Certainly in the beginning, you're going to use every single avenue that you possibly can that's not violent, okay? Violence is the absolute last resort. Let me say that again. Violence is the absolute fucking last resort. Always in every situation, whether you're dealing with a child, whether you're dealing with a friend, whether you're dealing with an enemy country, whether you're dealing with a government, anything. Always violence is the last, absolute, final and last resort, okay? Otherwise we're animals, we're not civilized, we're barbarians, okay? Cavemen. That's like, I don't feel that I had to actually spend half a minute to explain that, but with people like him, who knows, maybe he hasn't understood it. Jon Stewart and his ilk.
Oh, hey, what's up? Just wanted to say a quick word about my fantasy novel titled Lifting the Curse Volume 1, Guardian of the Magic. It's Volume 1 because it's the first half of the first novel in a 9-part planned saga. I have all the outlines for the rest of the sequels planned out, you see. So they're all going to be released in rapid succession. So I just wanted to let you know that people who enjoy a channel like this will probably love this book, because it's a combination of classic high fantasy in the vein of Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Dune, etc., and conspiracy thriller, we could say, like Da Vinci Code, that kind of thing, or Name of the Rose, Umberto Eco, the Italian writer. So I think people that like my work on the channel and my writings on Facebook and so on will actually, there's a very big chance that they will actually enjoy the book as well. So it's only 99 cents at the moment because it's the first in the series, and it talks about real stuff, okay, about what we might term conspiracy theories. Okay, it talks about all kinds of culture war stuff, about political stuff, historical things, and on and on. Okay, there's a giant glossary in the end that in which I have over 200 definitions on all these things, including things like problem, reaction, solution, and so on. Okay, so the glossary is pretty much half the length of the book. Not all of the books are going to be like this, but this first entry has got the most glossary terms because it had to, because I mentioned a bunch of things in the start of the saga. So we needed to start the first entry of this thing with a gigantic glossary, right? So I think the guys that like a channel like this one will really like this book, especially if you're a fantasy fan already, because it's original in the sense that it's set on Earth in the current day. Okay, the main villains are the Illuminati. Okay, so it's very current, I see. So I talk about the World Economic Forum. I mean, there's a glossary entry about them as well. So it's like this. So it goes on and on like this.
course, violence is the absolute last resort, but you need to have the right. I mean, and no one grants these rights. These are natural rights. It's like, how can imagine the government trying to tell me, well, you're not allowed to grab a rock, to pick up a rock from the ground and throw it at an attacking, like if a dog or something is attacking me, I'm not allowed to pick up a rock off the ground and throw it at its head. That's like a natural right for self-defense, defending myself against some bear or some dog that's attacking me. Okay, so now because the technology in the past, few centuries has allowed us to have guns, firearms, basically that's a weapon of choice. So because everyone else can have it, including the army, the police, and so on, no one can tell me that I also am allowed. Well, anyway, I butchered that sentence, but no one can tell me that I'm not allowed to also have a gun to protect myself from those other organizations and individuals that I mentioned before. So that's the whole point. I mean, maybe one day now we're going to very fast we're going to the age of Aquarius. A lot of people can see that clearly, with Elon Musk making his robots and everything, all this space age tech coming in quicker and quicker. One day we might have something like out of Star Wars, like lasers or something, okay, laser guns, all right? At that point, you can amend the Constitution and say, yeah, I mean, but you probably don't need to anyway, because it says it's written like in a sense that would include any weapon, the most current weapon of any time period. Okay, so it's written basically to apply for all time. Okay, like I said, I mean, I insist that it's the greatest document ever written. I mean, it's perfectly written. It does not need amendments. Okay, maybe we can repeal the 19th, but I didn't say that. So, but anyway, back to our topic now. You can't not be armed as a population, okay? But people just don't understand these concepts, right? They think, oh, well, the government's not going to do anything and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's a nice guy and we can all sing Kumbaya and we can, we can adjudicate everything through dialogue. Of course we can. But we need that bottom line of self-defense in the event that the dialogue is going to break down, okay? That the negotiations are going to collapse, all right? Which happens, okay? You've got to be very naive to think that this is not a possibility, okay? By looking at history, all right?
From what I can tell, seem to mostly protect the speech of the people holding the gun.
Right, so he's saying there the guns protect people. Let me play that again.
Seem to mostly protect the speech of the people adjudicated. Guns, from what I can tell, seem to mostly protect the speech of the people holding the gun.
That is, rarely have I heard a dumber argument than that on anything, but on this topic, I mean, it's just so, it's unbelievable. Like this guy, and he has this haughty kind of like, this arrogant type of demeanor sometimes. Like you think all of these, well, not all, but I don't want to generalize, not everyone, but a lot of them, these leftist types, like they believe it. They believe their own BS. They really think that they're the better side, the more civilized one, okay, the more intelligent one, whatever. Oh, because we don't want guns and we're not savages, blah blah blah. But I just said it before 5 minutes ago that if the first thing you do is resort to violence, you're a savage, you're an animal. So clearly I'm not advocating for that. Clearly I'm not that. Clearly my side is not that. He probably thinks we are, but hey, here I am, listen to me. This is basically, I'm trying to be a spokesman here for the right side, i.e. the correct side, because we see things in a long-term trajectory. We look at the macro. It's of course the masculine expression it's the masculine energy expressed through politics, so clearly it's correct because it's more logical. So everything about that side, you know, I mean, I really don't see anything wrong with the right. The only thing I can see wrong with the right/conservative side would be if he becomes too rigid, like Jordan Peterson also comments frequently. If it becomes too rigid and it stops caring about, you know, those in need, those that are, you know, been left behind and so on, completely ignoring things like social safety net and so on. But if we have a balance of it, that's why you need the left occasionally to come in and say, hey, look, got to take care of these sick people and unemployed people and old people and blah blah blah. So there's like a give and take, and both sides compromise, and everyone's sort of, you know, the people that are at zero kind of are given a chance of upward mobility, but it should never ever be done ever be done at the expense of a true meritocracy. Okay, because if you go too far on the other side, like on the leftism side, on the feminine expression of politics, then you get communism, and then you try to equalize everything, which is not true, because you can't. Because look at this, even these things are not equal, and they're just inanimate objects. Okay, so water bottle and the coffee mug, they're not equal. So there you go. Just prove that communism doesn't work just by showing you two cups. So, but anyway, I would much prefer the right side occasionally going bad, and then we can bring it back. During, you know, it's like, I mean, history is cyclical, of course. But bottom line is, what I'm saying is that when the left goes too far, it's incalculably worse than when the right goes far. People say, like David Icke, when he likes that, using that word that he made, that he coined, opposames, which is like a combination of opposite and same, something that seems to be opposite but is actually the same if you really look into it. I used to believe that, but I don't. They're not opposames. They're not the same. Like when the left goes too far and the right goes too far, they don't end up becoming the same thing, because what the left does, it immediately makes gulags and execution camps. The right doesn't necessarily do that. The right just restricts you. You know, it doesn't let you go out at night, and, you know, it imposes harsh curfews and things like that. Certainly a lot of censorship on both sides, but like the left has a much more murderous nature. Okay, when it goes all the way to the left, okay, like the furthest left you can possibly go, it's always murderous for some reason. Well, I know a lot of the reasons. I can not fully, but I can explain it to quite an extent. I haven't fully understood it, but there is an explanation for why they're like that. But this is why you need centre-right and maybe some far-right militia type of figures to be very strict on something like the Second Amendment, so that it can be used as a buffer against what I just described, you know, against the hard left going completely bananas and just wanting to, you know, get rid of everyone who doesn't believe literally exactly what they do, okay, which would be most people, because what they believe is insane. So necessarily you would have to eliminate 90% of the people in order to get the good guys, you know, that actually believe in the right thing, which they think is the right thing, but it's insane actually what they believe. That's why we need the Second Amendment, and also you know, right-wing tyrannies as well. But I'm just saying that the left-wing version is just 1,000 times worse, that's all. And that's where it seems that the Anglosphere and Northern Europe, basically, you know, the West, basically, you know, all the West except for the Mediterranean section, which is my neighborhood here, and, you know, places like Russia as well. You know, the rest of it, though, it's taken a very hard left direction, okay? It's a very hard turn towards the left, so it's just heading there. You're heading to the, listen, I'll be blunt, you're heading straight for the gulags. If for some, you know, if some terrible thing happens, I was going to say miracle, but it wouldn't be a miracle, it'd be a nightmare. If somehow people like him manage, like Jon Stewart, manage to to get rid of the Second Amendment, you're headed straight for the gulags. I'm telling you. You heard it here first, okay? Maybe not first, but you heard it here as well.
It's a tool of intimidation.
It's not.
And
No, it's not. No, it isn't. It's a tool of, it's like a last line of defense against tyranny. Asshole.
if I may finish, listen, motherfuckers, I'm not done.
No, you're not funny. Okay? Maybe you don't know it, you're not funny.
It is a tool of intimidation, and one that I think is actually being irresponsibly and recklessly invoked. Because some people in your crowd thought they might have been shadow banned by Facebook. I mean, for...
He's acting as if this whole censorship of the right phenomenon on social media is a figment of people's imagination. Okay, I'm not going to comment on that one further because the video is going to become 10 hours long if I do. But you know,
God's sakes!
there's no. I mean, I don't know. No comment. What can I say? I mean, if people still, if there's a single person left, a single thinking person with an IQ above 81, who thinks that none, like, no censorship happened whatsoever. You know, like back in the day, like the pre-Elon Musk Twitter days, okay, that wasn't like a far-left hellhole, that site. You know, if there's anyone still left that believes that, you need help.
You guys are in Butler, Pennsylvania. The whole reason you're there is because some f***ing asshole with an AR-15 tried to permanently litigate his vision of this country's free speech. That's why you're there. The whole point of a society is guns don't decide it. I would prefer at this moment...
They do, though. I went to great lengths, and many people have gone to great lengths to explain to people like you that at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, at the base of the entire thing, the entire foundation of it, it boils down to who's got the more guns. I'm sorry, my friend, you just don't. I mean, like I said, I explained at length before, all right? It might be new to some people, and they're like, you know, why is he bringing in metaphysical concepts into politics? Well, what can I tell you? Read quantum physics just for 5 minutes, just on one afternoon, and you'll see why. Because the entire, everything, all of existence has a metaphysical origin, so we can't avoid it. I can't avoid the subject, all right? So it is what it is. It's just the people that have a leftist predisposition, at least in their political outlook, at least, they are more feminine, okay, in their disposition. I'm not saying it could be men or women, okay, I'm just saying energy. I'm not saying female, I'm saying feminine, the energy, all right, the yin, the lunar, the mother energy that I was saying before. So it's just the dark, the toxic expression of that could be, you know, too much apathy, not enough action, you know, inaction, apathy, naivety, being too trusting, okay, imagining utopias and stuff, thinking that always looking at the thinking that people are always going to do the right things, like, oh, I see the good in him, blah blah blah. You know, like, how many stories do you hear of all these leftists like going to third world, really dangerous third world countries, and then they get, you know, deleted, they get taken out by some people, they get raped or something, or just taken out, you know, robbed and eliminated, you know. So, and they become memes. It's sad because it's people losing their lives, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're starting to become sick of the stupidity, okay, and people actually making fun of it. It's like, well, you know, how many times does this have to happen for you to realize that the world is not just you know, kumbaya and sunshine and rainbows, and everyone's going to do the right thing just because you tell them that you believe in them. You can't just go up to some axe murderer or some serial killer type who's a psychopath, who's born a psychopath, okay, it's genetic, right, like a primary psychopath, and say, oh look, I see the good in you, you know, I trust you'll do the right thing, you know, like in certain movie scenes where a guy, like there's a guy with a gun and he wants to show the other guy, the unarmed person, that he trusts him, and he just gives it to him and he's like, here, take it, and he trusts that the other guy is not going to shoot him with it. You know, it doesn't work like that. Like most of the time, like a person is who he is, okay, and if that person happens to be someone that raises up in the hierarchy of government, okay, whether it's like a military person or a politician or whatever, and they have evil designs and tendencies and psychopathic tendencies, you better have something like the Second Amendment to protect yourself against such a person, because they're just going to do anything in their power to institute a tyranny, okay, to become king and lord over you and put you in the gulag. So that's why you need the Second Amendment, okay, understand? Because you can't, like, this is why Musk was saying, you can't, the Second Amendment, like, right to bear arms is absolutely essential in order to protect the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, because you can't say whatever you want if you also don't have the right to protect yourself against some government or government agency that doesn't want you to say whatever you want, okay? Because you might be saying something that's exposing them. They, like I said, they might be bad guys and they might have done bad things that they don't want you to expose, and they want to come and shut you down. In extreme cases, shut you down by taking you out, okay? As in eliminating you, all right? Curtains for you. And in such cases, you need, of course, to be able to defend yourself, and it needs to be enshrined in law, in no uncertain terms, okay? The government shall not infringe, period. There's no, if you read the Second Amendment carefully, there's no ifs, ands or buts and various interpretations of it. It's just, people will always have the right to bear arms, period, the end. To the end of time. Until America, I don't know, gets dissolved or falls like the Roman Empire or whatever. But if it stands, until it's, you know, till the day it's standing, till the last day it's standing, it applies. Shall not be infringed. Okay? It's very simple. And they knew what they were talking about, the founding fathers. They knew.
Not to trade in a government that offers me many remedies for my concerns, legitimate or illegitimate, for a situation where my rights are determined by how many militia members agree with me. The country ain't perfect.
It's not. He's like, it's determining the policies and so on according to how many militia members agree with him. No, it's not like that. It's not the militia members that are deciding the policies. They're not deciding what direction the country is going to go in. I mean, for how much longer do I need to be talking, explaining this? Okay, Mr. Stewart. Oh boy, I'm done here. That's it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I know I've been a bad boy. I haven't uploaded in a while because I've been so busy and so many different things have been happening. I'm in a different location now. I'm actually in the middle of the Peloponnese region in Greece, in a region called Arcadia, in a nice little cottage here with my dad, doing some stuff. This is his house. Yeah, so in the middle of nowhere, no internet, but I'm loving it. So I will try my best to upload more regularly. I figured out a new way to do it now that makes it easier for me to actually do it on location, to take my laptop and make reaction videos wherever, in the park, on the beach, whatever. So see you soon.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, please share, like and subscribe. And also, please check out my associated channel, The New Aeon 2012, which was my original channel, and it's exclusively focused on spirituality and occultism. So some of you might be interested in that content, so go ahead and subscribe. Also, please check out the novel. It only costs 99 cents because it's the first entry in the saga. I have the link to the Amazon page below. If you're hesitant for whatever reason, you can get the first chapter for free. You get the PDF for the first chapter for free, no email sign up required or anything. So there's a link to that down below as well. Last but not least, please follow me on Twitter if you're a Twitter user, because that's where all the fun is these days. I will see you soon.